Greetings and salutations, friends and fellow seekers. I'd moved to South Carolina via Florida and Pennsylvania. And when I first arrived here, I was staying with a former husband. So it was his house, and I wasn't set up for doing any artwork or gardening until I got my own spot. And so there was a lot of just downtime, and I'm like, built for activity and work, but I figured I'd take advantage of resting. So I did a lot of, research on the computer and that type of stuff. And we had been experiencing a lot of rain, days and days on end of just constant rain. So there was a break in the rain, and I suggested to my partner that maybe we should go to the local bookstore and pick up some reading to occupy more of my time. So we headed over to the bookstore, and I was automatically drawn to a certain section, not knowing the bookstore, and I came across a book that would suit his interest and my interest. And I was like, check this out. It was called Cosmos and the Psyche, or Psyche and the Cosmos. I can't really recall. So we agreed and picked out a couple more books and left the store. So over the next couple days, I was reading this book, and we were taking turns, and I came across this fabulous story of Carl Jung having a session with a young, well-to-do patient of his, and he couldn't get her mind to open up to the extraordinary metaphysical parts of life. So he's just listening to her in these sessions. Well, this one particular session, she walks in and she is elated. She had this fabulous dream where a very handsome, wealthy male suitor presented her with a gold brooch. So Carl's just sitting there trying to pay attention to her, but he's being distracted. He's hearing this ping, ping sound off of his window. And so she's going on and on about how much this gold pin must have cost and how lovely it was fashioned. And you get the picture. But he has to excuse himself. And he gets up to go to the window, and she's describing a golden scarab pin. So he gets to the window, and he sees this insect hitting the window, and he opens it up and retrieves it, and it's a beetle, a scarab beetle. So he grabs a hold of it and takes it across the room and hands it to her. So you could imagine, she just had this dream about a golden scarab beetle, and now there's one at her psychiatric session. So, now her mind is opened up. So I found this story fascinating. So a couple more days went by, and we got a little bit more rain, and there was a break in the rain, and we had decided to go back to the bookstore. So on the way out of the bookstore, the parking lot lights were already on, and the pavement is totally wet. And as I'm approaching the car, I look down, and I just see this tiny little square. But I say aloud, "What are you doing here?" And I bent over and I picked it up. And it was a tiny 1 inch by 1 inch cardboard picture of a golden scarab beetle. So Michael looks at me, I look at him, and I'm like, it's not even wet. It's just perfectly dry here in a wet parking lot. What is it doing here? So we get in the car, and I'm looking at this beautiful picture of this golden beetle, and I flip it over, And there's a story on the back. And it says, the golden scarab beetle was immortalized in Edgar Allan Poe's story about this beetle and how it symbolizes the awakening of consciousness. So that's the story of the beetle, the bookstore, and the book. I use it as a bookmark now. It's packed up someplace. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my short story, and you're going to have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Arrivederci.